Oh my God. No way. No way. No way.
Every year starts the same. Anticipation, waiting for the season, turns into preparation for the season. And before we know it, the season's here. We're ready to go. But each year, even though it all seems the same, deep down inside, you hope for the season to be a little bit different, with some better luck, some bigger bucks, and with a little bit of luck, and God willing, you just might, get the chance at a buck of a lifetime. Hi, I'm Brian Masson with DeerHunterFan.com TV. Today is September 30th. Tomorrow is opening day of archery season in the southern zone of New York. Other team members have already been hunting, the Knops in Kansas, Bob and Dale in Arkansas. And we have some footage already. So this first episode of the season to start the semi-live online shows is going to be a good one. If you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you know that we already have 2 bucks on the ground. 2 bucks and a doe. So this first episode here, we're going to run through some trail cams to show what you can expect. What deer you can expect us to be going after in Kansas, Missouri, and New York. One of these bucks though is already down, and the end of this episode is going to be that story there. So it's going to be a good first episode, and as I said, next week we already have a buck for you for sure as well. Tomorrow morning I will be in my new box stand that I built on my Sinclair C Company food plot. Chad Chase is going to be my cameraman. A little cold front, low pressure moving in. Started yesterday, it's going to continue through the weekend. So with any kind of luck, this opening weekend here could be killer, literally. So, but we'll see what happens. If anything really exciting happens tomorrow on my hunt, that will be at the end of this episode. So, let's get right to it.
Well, today is August 25th. It's a Thursday. The season's right around the corner. We're going to start our season off early here in Arkansas this year. It opens up a week from today on September 1st. And it's an urban hunt here in Arkansas. Dale's been doing the prep for the urban hunt, so he can give you more information on what he's seeing and where we're hunting and why we're hunting it. And you've got some pretty good setups up, don't you?
Yeah, got probably about 6 or 7 places. I do have some bucks coming in, a couple of nice bucks, but of course we're going to try to, take some does out first and kind of get warmed up on them. And of course I'm anxious to go to Kansas awful bad. We got a lot of good bucks coming there.
And Kansas starts on the 12th and Missouri on the 15th. So, for the urban hunt, that'll let us get our camera equipment working right and making sure everything's right and our equipment's working right. For those of you that own urban hunt, that's a good way for you to help your community and get involved in, testing your equipment. And so it's a win-win for everybody. In Kansas now, we've got some really good bucks in Kansas. on one of the farms where I harvested mine last year, we've got a set of twin eights, just like the one I harvested last year. We've ran into several sections of that property that's got 6 or 7 bucks or young bucks. Everything on the right hand side is damaged. It might only be 1 inch to 10 inches and then a really good rack on one side.
I'm gonna let Bob shoot those.
Right. And the main one is Club. We had pictures of him last year. So, you know, these are leases that we've got in Kansas and Missouri. So, fortunate enough on our tags, it doesn't give a point restriction or an age restriction. So, if the video is good, we're going to harvest them. So, we're not that we don't want to harvest 5.5-year-old deer, but on some of these leases it's hard to build up some history with because leases change hands or people sell the property out there in Kansas. We're having trouble patterning the bucks in Kansas. Their bedding is bumped right up against their food and they're literally getting up and stepping in. So most of our pictures are nighttime. We do have a few daytime pictures. I was able to film right at dark the twin eights and one other decent buck. One of our other properties, same situation. The bedding bumps right up. I was able to get a few pictures on a small water hole right at the verge of dark. So where these places usually late October and when the rut kicks in and they get to cruising and that kind of thing, you have a lot better encounters. But we don't always get to hunt that section because we've got hunters coming in and stuff like that. So I take advantage of the early season. Happy Labor Day. Today's Labor Day. It's 93 degrees, but a very important holiday, but to most people anyways, but it's even more of a perfect holiday for me. Today is my 29th wedding anniversary. Not that most people matter, but it matters to me. And you see where I'm at. So I've been pretty lucky for 29 years, even though my wife don't hunt that much. She loves the fact that I hunt. She thinks it's awesome. And for my anniversary, she let me come out and hunt. So I owe her big time for sure. But 29 years ain't a lot to some people, and to some, it's a really big deal. So to me, it's a really big deal. So thanks to my wife for letting me come out here and hunt. I have to be crazy, though, for being 93 degrees. But here it is, only 4:30, and I just poked a big old doe right there. We're in the urban hunt, if you're wondering why we're hunting when it's 90 degrees. Kansas opens in about, a week from today, actually. So we'll be in Kansas and then Missouri 2-3 days after that. So, but I think I just put a real good shot on it. I can see my arrow down there. I can see the lit knock. I think things look good. So, and I think I seen her actually crash. But I don't think what people understand about an urban hunt, and you'll have to excuse the video. There's a house right there. So there's a house right there. So there's literally houses 80 yards on both directions of me, even though it looks like a big, subdivision. But so we're going to get down here in a minute. I think I seen her crash right over there. The arrow looks really good. So, but we'll get down here. 93 degrees. You don't want to let them set too long. Let's get them out of here and go on. So stay with us.
story of Aussie starts in the beginning of June this year. I put a camera up in one of our best hunting fields we have. Instead of going all the way back in the timber like we normally do, I decided I'd put it right on the cove facing the back corner just to see what was hitting the beans. The very first week I checked the camera, my hunting season completely changed. I got a picture of Aussie. He was a true stud even in the beginning of June, and from there on out that was my goal, was to kill Aussie. This was a deer like a deer I've never seen before. He had everything you could ever imagine. However, this was also a very smart deer. From beginning of June to the day I shot him, I only had 4 daylight pictures of him. The rest from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. But I just knew once season opened, if he was still there, I was going to have to try to knock him down early season. Because the luck that Dylan and I and Mason and I have had with deer like this is you have them all summer, they lose their velvet and they're gone right before season opens, and you're lucky to get a shot out of them in November, just like Mason and R2. Or they're there all summer, they shed their velvet, and they'll stick around for 1 or 2 weeks maybe right after season opens, and you better kill them then or they're gone. And thank God I was lucky enough to do that. I wasn't even going to hunt the day that I killed him. It was Friday and it rained all day long. And I walked outside of my office about 3:45, and there'd been a cold front that came through and dropped 20 degrees. And I just knew I had to be in the stand. I haven't been able to hunt the stand yet this year because of wind and heat, but the cold front came in and the wind wasn't quite right, but I knew that I had to be out there because I knew the deer would be moving. And it really wasn't much of a hunt. I got out there and it rained on me the whole entire time. I had a little decent 8-point walk by that I've had on camera all summer, and then about 7:20 I just happened to look up and Aussie was standing right there 20 yards from me.
Oh my God. No way. No way. Oh my. Oh my God. I just killed the biggest buck of my life. His name's Aussie. He's laying dead 40 yards. 7:26. He's got every bit of 14-15 points, double drop time, main beams go down. Well, I still cannot believe that I killed Aussie. I ranged him. He's laying 38 yards.
That right there is a beautiful sign. Covered in blood. What's up, boys?
Come see big old nasty buck.
From the time I got my camera turned on and hit record and turned around and grabbed my bow, he'd walked about 30 yards and was 4 steps away from being out of my shooting lane. I drew back, shot him at 14 yards. He ran through the beans, 38 yards, he's laying dead. That's about the fastest hunt I've ever had. From the time I saw a deer to the time I shot him, I bet it is less than a minute. He's a deer out there. He was very smart. He always was by himself. He was never bachelored up. And I guarantee I probably had over 300, 400 pictures of him. He was there every single week. I don't know, probably 40, 50 pictures a week of him. The only time he has been seen in daylight is my brother-in-law saw him a couple weeks before season one evening in a picked cornfield, and his cousin saw him in the exact same spot a couple evenings later. So that right there told me that just because he's not on the camera, I still need to be out there hunting. I didn't want to do too much scouting because I was afraid I'd scare him. There wasn't really a good vantage point to set up at. But I just can't thank God enough. I was able to harvest a buck of a lifetime. He truly is a giant, and he's what we do this for. So I didn't think Dylan's 183-inch buck would ever fall in the family. But there's a new leader, baby. Well, yesterday was a classic run and gun hunt. I wasn't even planning on hunting. When I stepped out of the office yesterday about 3:45, the weather had dropped and the rain had let up, It was like 67 degrees, and I just knew I had to be in the stand. After getting pictures of this deer all summer long, and he still was here when season opened, I figured I had a very small window and I just had to be out there. It wasn't very much of a beautiful hunt. It rained the whole entire time. I ended up having a small 8-point walk by, about 30 yards, and next thing I know, about 7:20, I just looked down and he is standing there 20 yards. By the time I turned, grabbed my camera and turned it on, reached around, grabbed my bow, drew back. He was in my very last shooting lane. He almost walked completely in front of me. But I don't think if my tree stand wouldn't have been so high in the air, it's about 24 foot, I would have been able to get him. So I got away with a lot of movement. He didn't even look up to see me. Truly a buck of a lifetime.
So what a deer for Griffin. Buck of a lifetime. And I just know, when he texted me and told me about that buck that he shot, I was really happy for him. Hunts like that don't come along all that often. And when they do, sometimes they happen so fast and they don't always happen the way you picture them to happen. But you gotta tip your hat to Griffin for keeping his composure and actually getting that deer on film, because it happened so fast, it was quiet, and he made it happen. I know I'm really happy about that, and I'm sure all you are too, because you get to watch it and share it with us. So I'm Brian Masson with Deer Hunter Fan.com TV. I'll see you next time. Deer Hunter Fan.com TV is sponsored by Buck Yeah Outdoors, Longhorn Fab Shop, Muddy Outdoors, Outback Archery, Ridge Runners Guide Service, Scent Blocker, Sinclairville Seed Company, Spy Point, Steady Form, and DeerHunterFan.com, an original online free hunting show.